Salam alaikum, everybody. Welcome back. Thank you for joining me. And I hope you are all in the best of health and you are very happy and well. Thank you for joining me for my story, the next part, as to why I became a Muslim. In the last video, I left you with the cliffhanger. I hadn't had a successful marriage, and I was feeling a real sense of loss, a sense of hopelessness, and a real sense of despair when the marriage broke down. I remember very clearly feeling as though I had been taken out of my body and was looking in on the situation of the scenario that I found myself in. And if you remember at the very beginning of my story, I felt a sense of not wanted, not being, not belonging. As I was born as the last child, and Mum wasn't really planning on a last, sixth child. So, and then also remember, I was struggling for breath at the beginning of my life. So I've always felt this sense of struggle, this sense of belonging. I didn't know where I belonged, what I wanted, who was I, and what was this life all about. And I never really actually questioned, why am I here on this planet? I questioned, why am I feeling the way that I'm feeling? Why am I so distressed? Why am I feeling unloved? But I never really questioned, why am I here? Who put me here? Where am I going in my life? So I was completely overwhelmed when the marriage didn't work. When I decided that I needed to leave the marriage, and that was a huge step. I don't know where at that point where I had the strength from to do that. I had been with my first husband now for about 22, 23 years. So all of my life growing up, that's all I knew. And it was as if the whole of my life had just been pulled away from me. Everything was just crumbling down, and I was an absolute mess. I was struggling at work as well. I had achieved so much during this time. I had achieved a master's degree. I had achieved what I always wanted, and that was leadership in school. I became an assistant head. We had bought our house in London, and we'd got the latest car. We were going on holidays. We had a good income between us. The children were growing up. They'd got into a very good secondary school. We had lovely friends. We were going out for great dates, on dinners, going to the theatre. We lived in London. I had everything. Everything. I had all this stuff, but I had a dark spot on my heart. And this spot was just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and I couldn't fill it, and I didn't know how to fill it. And I was frustrated. I was angry. And I was grasping so much at people, at materialistic things. And now I'd hit a wall. Everything I knew had disappeared. Can you imagine? I was completely lost. And one day I found myself walking the streets in my pajamas. My eyes were wet with tears. I couldn't see where I was going, but I suddenly found myself looking up at the sky. And if you remember in my early video, when I was in India and I found myself talking to the river, because I didn't know who else to talk to, I found myself looking up at the sky and just pleading with the sky, help me. I don't know what to do. I'm losing my mind. Really, I felt like I needed some sort of medication, or I felt like I might need to be sectioned into an institute for therapy and help. I was really very, very at that low ebb of a point. I felt like I was in the gutter. I was that low on who I was and the choices that I was making in life. They were completely wrong choices, and they were taking me down very dark roads. and I just didn't know what to do. But I had decided to leave the marriage, and I did leave the marriage. Um, and my grief continued um, for about a year and a half after leaving the marriage. Everything else was slowly beginning to crumble away. My job was crumbling away, um, and I left my job as well. I signed myself off sick, and I started taking some counselling sessions, which really helped me actually. But it's still there were still bad choices in my life, and I really don't want to discuss those choices that I made. But I hurt a lot of people along the way, and that was wrong of me. And I'm still praying for forgiveness for those poor choices that I made. Anyway, I for some reason I don't know why, but it was Allah. It was Allah. This is all Allah's doing. This is all the trials that were coming at me for me to open my heart and to find the connection. You see, it was the motivation, it was the drive, it was the trial and the stress that was in my life, that was on my heart, that was calling to me to say, hey, come on, there's someone bigger than you. You know, there's the creator that is calling, and that is where you need to go. You need to get onto that rope, and you need to hang on, and you need to worship, and you need to be humble, and you need to be grateful, and calm and peace will descend upon you. I didn't know that at the time, but this is what I've learned now on reflection. So I was in a very bad state. There were times where I could barely breathe, and it was a really, really dark time. I can't quite describe it. I mean, it got to a point where it was so bad. I had to write down my daily routine as to what I was going to do, because I didn't. I sometimes I was crying so hard that I couldn't breathe. I couldn't see through my tears. I couldn't think. I was on my own now. I'd rented a little flat and in Hackney, and it was right next to the railway station. It was a very sad time for me, and I decided, right, enough is enough. I need to get myself sorted out. I can't continue my life like this. I was going nowhere. I was not working. I started a little bit of supply work. Obviously, you know, there was a lot of upset and trauma around me with the children, and you know, with the situation that I was in. I'd left my family behind by now as well. I cut them off, not literally, but I wasn't sort of talking to them in a way that I am now. The relationship wasn't as strong then as it is now. So I was really alone. It was a terrible time, and I decided that I was going to take a job overseas. Now, I don't know how this came about. I think because, remember, I had always wanted to travel. I had a sense of I want to explore the world. I was curious, and this again was the gift from Allah, and I didn't know that at the time. So I thought, well, I'm on my own now, and I can travel. And maybe this would be good for me. Maybe this will be the panacea, the medicine that's going to fix my heart. But I was wrong, wasn't I? Remember, there's lots of unfortunately's in my story. I took a job in Qatar as a teacher, and I packed my bags, and I thought, yeah, you know, this is the light, this is the hope, this is going to be it. I'm going to be fixed. I'm going to fill up my heart. I'm going to fill up my life with lots of more worldly goods, and I'm going to get happy. That's the next part. I went to Qatar, and I stayed there for a very long time, actually. I was there for about 7 years, and I didn't find happiness, unfortunately. I thought I did, but I didn't. And I'm going to stop it right there, because in the next video I'm going to talk a bit more about my trip to Qatar and what happened when I got there, and the sort of person that I was becoming, and the closeness that I was getting to Islam and it was there in Qatar. So I'm going to stop right there for today. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please, please, please share this with your friends, your family, and anybody else who you think might benefit or just enjoy a bit of a story. I do hope that I am shining some light on anybody who might be in a situation that I was in, and feeling, at that point in my life, I just felt complete despair. I didn't think there was any light ever going to come. But I always had that strength inside me. And that was the blessing that Allah gave me when He brought me to this world. There was always that remembrance of the rope that He left with me. Obviously, at the time, I didn't know that, but that's what I find. Okay, without further ado, I'm going to say goodbye. It's been a very long video today, and mas salama, have a great day, and lots of love to you all. Keep smiling, keep searching, keep the light coming out of your heart and spread it around. Mas salama, everybody.